near side arm is open, we can opt for a finish. So again, fast forwarding to the head height battle. As we're gaining the head height battle and I'm hip heisting, if I feel this arm is an open space where I can reach my arm in, we can always attack this near side arm for an arm bar. Okay? Now, you might lose the position, so you're going to have to make a judgment call whether you want to go for the finish there or secure the back. But as I'm climbing on top here, if I feel this arm is open, maybe even a lot of times we're trying to reach for that arm or post out to get to a 4-point position, I'll attack that arm. So if I feel it's open enough where I can take this arm and overhook, I'll take it. So as Jared's opening up, I'm going to change the angle. As I overhook, I don't want to stay here where I'm relatively parallel with him. You're going to fall off. Now I'd have no posture control. Jared's going to posture, and I'm going to fall off. So it's important that as we attack this arm, I change the angle of my body to more in line with his shoulders. Okay, so my spine's going to go from trying to be parallel with his to perpendicular. Okay, so I'm going to form an L. So as I attack that arm, I change the angle here, where now I create an anchor behind Jared's head where it's difficult to posture. Okay, I'm posted on my forehead and this arm. Okay, so now Jared's carrying all my weight. My foot is still across. As I go elbow to this arm, this shin, simultaneously, as I don't want space between my knee and my elbow. So as I'm going for this arm, this knee is sliding over. Now I'm going to go directly knee to the mat, and then we're going to fall to this hip. I want to look towards Jared's hip. So as we're attacking this arm, I don't want to leave space between my knee and my elbow. You can see now his posture is open. He can posture up, and then posture up slow. And I'm going to lose that head height battle and fall off. Okay, and you have to create a scramble to other options. So if I want that arm, as I reach over, I want to bring my knee with me. Okay, so my knee and elbow are staying connected the whole time. Now, once I'm elbow to elbow, my knees to the mat, my shin, my instep should be on the back of his head, controlling his posture, and this instep stayed on the leg the entire time. Now we're going to fall to this hip to look towards Jared's leg. So as I fall to my side, let's assume he stays here. We're going to go for the finish here. I'll change the angle so we can see. I fell to the hip. Now let's assume his arm's open and he's not in a defensive posture, or he didn't try and roll over and scramble out. I'm keeping my foot on his head, so it makes it difficult for Jared to posture here. Okay, if I take my shin off, Jared can posture, and I'm going to start losing this position. To finish, I'm limited in this finish here, where I'm trying to hip in. But if I turn, if I rotate Jared's thumb down, knuckles the chest, I can pull his arm and push it as far as I want. There's nothing restricting my movement. And I'm going to use the inside of my leg as our breaking point, as our fulcrum, to get that break. Swing my leg in here. So we had elbow to elbow. He didn't secure a defensive grip. I secure palm to palm of that thumb, turn the knuckles to my chest, his thumb is facing down. Now I'm just pulling across my thigh here, and I get the finish. Okay? Turn this way just a little bit, Jared. So the finish from here would look like this. I pull arm away from his defensive grip, which would be the inside of his leg, thumb down. As I pull across, I can release if I need to, and I can use this hand to help push if they're real flexible, that we can get the finish. Okay? Now, you're gonna have to grab your leg. Let's assume, as we fell to our hip, they step over their hand right away. Okay? This is a relatively hard grip to break here, because I'm limited in my motion. I can reach in, try and grab his hand and pull it out. I can post and try and hip away, but it's pretty difficult. So we're going to reverse the position and end in a traditional armbar. I want to get control of that far leg and pull over my head so that way Jared will flop to his back. Now you can't just pull your opponent over this way. We have to rotate him over our body. So initially, we go for the near side leg. I start pulling him closer. Now, I can get to the secondary leg. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull, if I can get to his hip, I can. I'm going to pull Jared on top of me, where now he's relatively light, and I can hip underneath him. And now we're just in a traditional armbar break finish. So as we're climbing on top, I see the opening for the arm. My knee and elbow, remember our top knee and elbow want to stay connected. I don't want to keep that gap open. So my knee and elbow are reaching over at the same time. I'm elbow to elbow, I fall to my hip. He doesn't get a defensive grip in time, we go for our finish. Thumb down, pulling across our body. I can push that arm as far as I want. He steps over to get a defensive grip. I can't break this grip. I'm going to pull his hip on top of me so I can turn and he'll fall over. So we go, goal is the far leg, so we start with the near side leg until I can get to the far leg. And you can grab, I like to grab inside on the shin here, where it's hard for Jared to kick that leg out. Okay? But if you can get to that far hip, that's always a good grip, or we can always swim inside here as well. Okay? So near side leg, far side leg. I pull Jared's hip on top of me so you can see now he's at a pivot point, so all I have to do is rotate my hip and he'll fall over. Now we can go for our finish. Okay. And we finish with a nice top side armbar. One more time. So we're about to secure the back, we're climbing on. And that arm is open. Maybe he's reaching for this arm. As I slide, as I'm changing my angle to slide over, make sure we keep that knee and elbow connection. I got elbow to elbow. My forehead is on the mat. I fall to that hip closest to his head, so I'm going to look towards Jared's hip here. Go for our finish. He defends. We get control of the far leg. I pulled him on top of me. Now we can rotate our hip. He'll fall over, and we can go for our finish. Okay, so let's look at an armbar option. Just make sure as you're changing the angle for the arm, we want to keep the gap between our knee and elbow limited, so we can keep that posture control. And then once we fall to the hip, look for your armbar finish. Looking from that same position, when we're going for the arm, we can also look for a back triangle option if the far arm is open. So, as we're climbing up, we looked at the armbar options. We looked at the armbar options. If this elbow is open, then we can secure elbow to elbow, okay, and go for an armbar. Well, as we're doing that, okay, as I'm sliding knee to elbow over to secure this arm, if I feel or see that there's space here where this foot can hook to the inside of this arm, we can attempt a back triangle. Okay, so as I'm going for this arm, and I go elbow to elbow, before I decide to slide my shin over for that armbar, if I feel that he's posturing up and there's space, I'm going to hook this leg on the inside. Okay? This only works if I can get this leg hooked on the inside of his far arm. From here, I'm going to still fall like we did for the armbar to our near side hip here. And it's going to be like the power half where I'm forcing Jared's chin to his chest. But this time, instead of with the power half, I'm using my thigh. And I'm going to kick that leg that's weaved through. I'm going to kick it straight. And we're going to fall, forcing him to fall just forward on his back, right into a back triangle position. So as I angle, right, we came over knee to elbow, but I see that there's space, I'll hook. Now, I'm going to kick this leg straight. As I kick that leg straight, we continue to fall all the way through. And he fell directly to his hip. Now, I'm still holding this arm. I'm pulling across. I'll change the angle so you can see. I'm going to get my leg that was hooked in his arm across his torso and grab my shin. Okay? Now I'm just keeping this leg here so you can see. I'll change the angle. I hook it across. I get my initial grip, and I want to curl my heel in. Okay? So we get our finish. So, slide it over. I see there's space on that far arm. I'm going to hook. Now I'm going to fall to the same side and kick this leg straight, forcing his chin to his chest, whipping him over. As we land, I want to keep my knee and heel connected. I don't want any space where this arm can come in. Okay, and remember I'm securing the elbow across the whole time. So I keep my knee and my heel connected. Grab my shin. Now I can angle, get a better bite. And when I finish, I want to lock it up. I don't want to drift this leg in between where he can trap my leg, okay, and make my pinch harder. So when I finish, this foot stays behind his back the whole time. And I'm backpedaling. I'm pulling my heel to my butt, and we get the finish. Okay? What angle is that? So we're sliding over for the arm. As I slide over for the arm, that far side arm is open. I hook. Make sure we fall to this hip. I don't want to fall to my near side hip like this. Okay? So make sure we break his posture by kicking this leg straight and fall it over. Make sure we keep our knee. If I want the back triangle, I bring my heel across his torso, secure my grip. Turn this way. Yeah. Okay, I drift my heel across, keeping my space closed. I don't open this up, even if I have my arm in here. Okay? So I secured the elbow when it fell. I bring this across, heel, back pedal, and we get our finish. And there's lots of options from here too. We can always just switch back to arm bar positions. I like to go for that triangle. One more time. So as I'm going for that arm, I see that there's space. I hook. I'm going to kick. As I kick, I fall to this hip. Secure my shin. Angle. Back pedal. And we get our finish. So going for that arm bar option, if you feel there's space on that far arm, you can slide that far leg through the arm and go for our back triangle.